Welcome to the 23rd meeting in 2025 of the Delegated Powers and Law Reform Committee, and I'd like to make everyone aware we've received apologies from Katie Clark this morning. I'd like to remind everyone to please switch off or put to silent their mobile phones and other electronic devices. And the first item of business is to decide whether to take items 5, 6, 7 and 8 in private. Is the committee content to take these items in private?
Yes.
Under agenda item number 2, we're considering instruments subject to the affirmative procedure. No points have been raised on the draft Social Security cross-border provision, case transfer and miscellaneous amendments, Scotland Regulations 2025, the draft Climate Change Local Development Plan repeals Scotland Order 2025, and the draft Climate Change Scotland Act 2009, Scottish Carbon Budgets Amendment Regulations 2025. Is the committee content with these instruments?
Yes.
Under agenda item number 3, we are considering instruments subject to the negative procedure. Issues have been raised on 2 of these instruments. The first is SSI 2025-197, the Teachers' Pensions Remedial Service Scotland Amendment number 2, Regulations 2025. This instrument corrects outstanding errors in SSI 2023-141, the Teachers' Pensions Remedial Service Scotland Regulations 2023. That were not corrected by the previous amending instrument. In correspondence with the Scottish Government, published alongside the papers for this meeting, the committee asked why there was no headnote providing that the instrument will be issued free of charge, which would be expected given that the sole purpose of the instrument is to correct errors. The Scottish Government confirmed that this was an oversight, would be corrected and that any costs incurred by purchasers refunded. Does the committee wish to draw the instrument to the attention of the Parliament on the general reporting ground for not including the appropriate headnote for a correcting instrument? And does the committee wish to welcome that the instrument fulfils commitments by the Scottish Government to correct errors identified by the committee in SSI 2023-141? An issue has also been raised on SSI 2025-212, the Council Tax Reduction Miscellaneous Amendment, Scotland number 4, Regulations 2025. The instrument makes amendments to ensure that, subject to the conditions set out in the instrument, people coming to Scotland from Israel, the occupied Palestinian territories, i.e. the West Bank, including East Jerusalem and Gaza, or the occupied Golan Heights, are not excluded automatically from entitlement to council tax reduction on the account of not being habitually resident in the United Kingdom, the Channel Islands, the Isle of Man or the Republic of Ireland. This is in light of the escalation of violence between Israel and Iran that began on the 13th of June 2025. Under Section 28(2) of the Interpretation and Legislative Reform Scotland Act 2010, instruments subject to the negative procedure must be laid at least 28 days before they come into force, not counting recess periods of more than 4 days. The instrument breaches this requirement as it was laid on the 24th of July 2025 and came into force the next day. As required under the Act, the Scottish Government has set out its reasons for this breach in a letter to the presiding officer, which will be published in the committee's report on subordinate legislation considered at today's meeting. This letter explains that although the need for such regulations became clear in the days following the escalation of violence on the 13th of June, there was not sufficient time to prepare them prior to recess beginning on the 28th of June, and as such it was necessary to make them during recess. It also states that it considers it necessary for the instrument to be made on that timescale due to the urgent need for support for people fleeing the violence. Does the committee wish to draw the instrument to the attention of the Parliament under reporting ground J for the failure to lay the instrument in accordance with Section 28(2) of the Interpretation and Legislative Reform Scotland Act 2010?
Yes. Yes.
And is the committee satisfied with the reasons provided by the Scottish Government for its failure to comply with the laying requirements?
Yes.
Also, under this agenda item, no issues have been raised on SSI 2025-187 and SI 2025-678. Is the committee content with these instruments?
Yes.
In relation to SSI 2025-187, does the committee wish to welcome that this instrument fulfils commitments by the Scottish Government to correct errors identified by the committee in SSIs 2023-242 and 2025-113.
Yes.
Under agenda item number 4, we're considering an instrument not subject to any parliamentary procedure. No points have been raised on SSI 2025-179. Is the committee content with this instrument?
Yes.
And does the committee wish to welcome that the Scottish Government has corrected an error in the original policy note for this instrument about the applicable parliamentary procedure, and that the corrected policy note has now been published?
Yes.
And does the committee wish to highlight to the lead committee for its information the correspondence published alongside the papers for this meeting, which in relation to this instrument provides an explanation from the Scottish Government regarding the time taken to commence the relevant provisions?
Yes.
Thank you. And that now concludes the public part of the meeting, and I'll move the committee into private.